My name is Jamie D. Ramsay. I'm the director of photography for the main competition film Living, directed by Oliver Hermanus, written by Kazao Ishiguro, starring Bill Nighy in the lead. The first step in finding the look to my chosen film is the initial script read, and I know very, very quickly if the film resounds with me, and if it resonates, you know it because the ideas, it opens like a tap and they just flow, and as you're reading the words, you're seeing the film shape in front of you, and your heart beats faster and your palms get sweaty and you realize there's something special. If that doesn't happen, then you know, or at least I know that it's not the right choice for me. Once I've gotten that feeling and I start to digest the film and the words, the imagery sort of appears to me, and then I go on the process of a lot of dialogue with the director initially, where we see if our two headspaces are on par, and if they are, then it's a path definitely worth going down. The conversations with the director always start passively when talking about the film. One tends to talk more about the metaphor and the feeling, and less about the specific scenes. And as you're going on and you get to know the film and the script better and better, that's when you start latching onto some anchor point scenes. And the anchor point scenes are the ones that kind of shape the feeling of the narrative. And then obviously each character has a journey within that, and there are specific character beats that are represented by my choices within the film. The character arc is the one that one can really shape with your lighting and your camera movement, hopefully to develop something special. The look of the film can come down to a handful of things. Your choice of camera, your choice of glass, your choice of lighting, your choice of movement. I feel like probably most importantly out of all of that is the glass that one uses, and I find the journey of choosing glass to be one of my hardest parts of pre-production. I spend a lot of time in the test rooms and looking through different glass, different packages, different serial numbers of different packages. As you're going through different sets of glass, some of them bite and some of them don't, and then you build your package. On this movie that's in competition, Living, Oliver and I, we wanted to have quite a print film sort of feel to it. We wanted to tip our hats to the old days of film, with a slightly modern feel to it. Our reference palette of still imagery had a lot of sort of your Kodachrome print film photographers of late 40s, early 50s, the likes of Vivian Maier, Sol Leiter, etc., etc. Not ignoring like your compositions of your Bressons and Nachtwey and whatnot. We knew that the glass that we used needed to be robust. It needed to have a character to it, but most importantly, it needed to practically cover the sensor, because we wanted to shoot open gate. But the glass itself needed to give us a contrast ratio and a color ratio that could at least get us to a point that felt like print film. And we all know that well-exposed medium format print film is just, the colors are exquisite, and the feeling of it, the texture of it is exquisite. And it's so important for me to represent character with the texture of how the imagery looks, and this is such a layered character drama, and to do it justice, I felt like I needed the robust nature of large format glass to get me there. I shot on the ZEISS Supremes. They really gave the pixels all they needed to give us that tone and texture that we could pull out in the post. Also important to note is just the inherent contrast to those lenses and how dense and rich they feel. And obviously one sprinkles a bit of magic on in the form of filtration and things like that, just to kind of get your independent language right. But just as a base acquisition, they were the right lenses. They cover the entire sensor. Everything feels uniform, but robust and responsible and strong. With my reference palette, which I mentioned a little bit earlier, there was choice imagery that represented different points in the film, and that inspired my approach to how to light the film. It inspired my approach on how to compose the film. Being a visual person and sort of being transfixed by the good photographers of that era, and there are so many, one is subconsciously influenced by that. So my choice on how to light locations and how to light characters was certainly affected by that. My grandfather bought me a camera when I was a young teen, and that was a very interesting point for me, because being a consummate observer of life, you know, much preferring to observe the outside world than the words of a book, the purchase of that camera was the first time that I took this sort of objective observation of life and narrowed it down through a lens. So now from going to observing the world around me to now telling stories through the lens of a stills camera was basically the birth of it, you know. You know, that coupled with the fact that when I was much younger, my mum put me in commercials, and you know, not that I ever really enjoyed it particularly, but what I did enjoy was being on set and being around the activity of a film set. And it was only when you know, I was in school and trying to figure out what to do next, what to do with my life, did it dawn on me that this could actually be a career. And upon researching film schools, I found one, and then my life changed. I finally found a language that made sense to me and that I responded to and did well at, you know.